It's officially June, so y'all know what that means.
Oh, homosexual!
Being gay just has its perks.
Welcome back to year 2 of forcing myself to watch every queer anime I can get my hands on. This year we're diving into possibly the most toxic anime genre ever, BL and Yaoi. So as much as I tried to come at these reviews from a non-judgmental place, this is me that we're talking about, so obviously that didn't happen. Last week we suffered through the worst of the worst, and I nearly blew out my microphone from yelling so much. Today, we're gonna struggle through the mid-anime, which isn't as offensive, but isn't it? Like, there's so many triggering topics ahead that we're gonna be discussing, so please take care of yourselves, because we're gonna be talking about SA, R, coercion, grooming, and abuse of every shape and size. I also have to censor the out of this video so that it doesn't get restricted, so please excuse the abbreviations, gaps in words, and bleeps. I have never suffered more for a watch list than I did for this one, so please consider joining my Patreon to help fund my therapy to recover from this. I've uploaded an extended uncensored version that you can scan for here or click in the description. So with all that being said, let's get into it. So the whole problem with the world's greatest first love is that I watched it back to back with Junja Romantica, and in comparison to its nefarious predecessor, this puppy is a fucking shining beacon of morality. So this should really tell you just how horrible Junja Romantica is, because that makes the constant SA, toxic power dynamics, and emotional blackmail into starting a relationship look tame in comparison. The main character is still S8 and punished by his love interest, who is also his boss, and wields that power over his head to make his work life hell. And he does all of this because the main character had the audacity for not going out with him when they were younger because they broke up over a miscommunication. The side stories around this shit show of the main couple are fine, I guess, and I don't know, the storylines that don't involve their romantic life, there's a couple moments to shine. I did like all the behind the scenes looks at what the manga editor industry used to look like in the late 2000s, early 2010s, but even all of that just is not enough to save this series. But honestly, this is all kind of on us for daring to have any type of expectations for the creator of Junjo fucking Romantica. The world's greatest first love gets a 4 out of 10. If you don't have anything nice to say about something, it's best not to say anything at all. So I'll keep this review short. Love Love Campus gave us 2-minute dating sim slop shoved into 4 episodes, which I think was supposed to evoke some kind of emotional response, but the only response that I got out of me was, that sure was an anime, kind of. That someone made on purpose. This is the definition of low budget, from the laughable animation to the voice acting, which sounded like it was recorded and mixed in an old bathroom, to the alleged plot, which made Gaku in Heaven look like a goddamn masterpiece. So yeah, this sure was something I'm never gonna watch again. Boom. Love Love Campus gets a 4 out of 10. So I originally rated someone else's BL comic pretty poorly, but then I found out that it was produced by an animation school, and if we take all of that into account, I'm gonna try to be a little bit more compassionate and subjective with this review. But then I forced myself to rewatch it for this project, and yeah, this just isn't a good anime. It's jagged pacing, unique, to put it kindly, character design, and truly god-awful voice acting and mixing just add up to be one unsalvageable clusterfuck. It came across more like one of those really bad after-school special PSAs that they make kids in South Korea sit through. I'm sure with a bigger budget and a professional team behind it, this could be a legitimate contender. I think the manhwa it's based off of is pretty well loved, so, maybe one day it'll get the adaptation it deserves. But as it sits now, yeah, no. Someone else's BL comic gets a 4 out of 10. Now, I'm sure you're all asking yourselves the same question. Am I really including the Titan's Bride in this ranking? The Titan's fucking bride? And the answer, unfortunately, is yes. Now, this anime gives new meaning to the term size queen because, dear God, if this was out in the real world, this poor boy would be dead. Plain and simple. And that's all I can really describe without being crucified on this platform. But all you need to know is that this is about a teen who gets isekai'd to another world and ends up being a Titan's bride. All the laws of physics cannot explain how he doesn't die. But since this is a hentai, they sure put his limits to the test, leaving us with one hell of a creative anime. For those of y'all who saw the title, you're probably having as many trauma flashbacks as I am, so to you, I'd like to personally apologize for making you remember this very creative addition to the yaoi genre. The Titan's Bride gets a 4 out of 10. No Love Zone suffers from BL manhwa brain. While a lot of Japanese BL have somewhat kind of moved away from including so much SA, Korean BL is unfortunately still locked into the dark ages. Instead of having a normal reaction to not being recognized by your former crush who has not seen you before you went through a major growth spurt and glow up, this motherfucker goes, let me just wield my power of authority to make his work life hell and professionally humiliate him. To make matters worse, of course he SAs him. At this point, it's just a parody of every cliched trope we've exhausted in this list. I don't even know if I have the energy to be mad about it anymore. Like, to quote every devastating parent ever, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. So, to No Love Zone, I'm just disappointed. 4 out of 10. Mask Danshi is half terrible and half genuinely good. The first half is just terrible, because forcing yourself on someone and blackmailing them into doing stuff is SA, and I hate that's how their relationship started. It really doesn't matter that it ended up working out, because it teaches the message that if you continue to force yourself on someone, they will fall for you, and that is an insanely dangerous and reckless thing to teach. So how did it even turn around? Well, somehow the abuser was able to help his victim overcome a massive mental block he was dealing with, and he encouraged him to start letting down the walls he had up. Through his love and encouragement, it genuinely helped the main character have a breakthrough, where he was then able to start communicating with the outside world again. That part of things was beautiful and heartwarming, but how much can I really enjoy it as a whole when it started like that? I really don't know what to do with this one, so I'm just gonna settle on a score and give Mask Danshi a 4 out of 10. Okay, full disclosure, I have had beef with Love Stage for a couple of years now. But for this project, I did push myself past my own discomfort to see if my opinion changed. And the answer is no. Ryoma is still a shitty-ass person. He SAs Izumi a number of times, and then has the audacity to get jealous and mad at him the second he starts getting success. Yes, he does apologize in ways, and he also helps Izumi with different projects, but I have a sneaking suspicion that if Ryoma wasn't constantly around him, begging him to give him a chance, that they would not end up together. If you're having to constantly convince your partner to be with you, that's not a good thing. Especially if this is after you've already SA'd them multiple times. It only magically works out for the best because this is a BL, so obviously we're just gonna bulldoze past any red flags in order to make it work. We are keeping Love Stage at a 4 out of 10. I really shouldn't have expected anything from an anime like Gaku in Heaven, because it's literally a dating sim adaptation. So why did I still think to have expectations? That one's fully on me. Like, this is kind of just a nothing burger of an anime, but it definitely could have been much, much worse. At least this puppy attempted to have a mystery plot interwoven throughout. It ended a hell of a lot better than it started, but yeah, like some video games just should not be adapted. Everything from the dialogue to the pacing of the episodes was just unbelievably painful and cringy. It was honestly the ending that saved it and kind of gave it some kind of stakes. But at the end of the day, I'm really the one to blame because I knowably forced myself to watch this. Gaku in Heaven gets a 4 out of 10. Jail. Fucking jail. For some reason, I didn't think that the Junja Romantica author could sink any lower, but the bar is in hell, my friends. As an anthology series, not all of the episodes were bad, but episode 2 had a grown-ass man teaching his hybrid child sexual things. Mind you, he is raising this child. Emphasis on child. And the worst fucking thing is that they had sex in order to help the child grow. And it fucking worked. At first, he was all like, "No, you're a child, don't." But then he switched his tune immediately and seduced him. His child that he is raising. I am so pissed off that the assassin didn't finish the job and only blinded him instead. Ranking this one was really, really tough because episode 1 was like a 5 out of 10. Episode 2 was a 1 out of 10. And episodes 3 and 4 were like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. And honestly, I just hate that episode 2 drags the others down, especially because the last 2 episodes were so solid. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely got up in my feels by the last story, which makes this even more frustrating because it shows that the creator can actually do good when they try. So I'm just gonna average this all out to, 4 out of 10. So I've got a real question for you guys. Which is the greater sin? Being bad or being boring? This is the moral conundrum that has haunted me while watching this clusterfuck of an anime, so disjointed and dispassionate that it made a death game boring. Big moments have such little weight that I forgot about them as soon as they happened and only remembered if there is a flashback explaining them. Good anime holds your attention, even if it's a genre that's not really your cup of tea. But not this shit. For some reason, the color grading was also trash, and the dark, moody color palette for certain scenes made it damn near impossible to make out. To make matters even worse, for some ungodly reason, whatever the main character is being attacked and looks like he's actually gonna lose, the perpetrator always suggests, "Let's have some fun before I kill you." Did we really have to threaten SA every single time? At a certain point, it just became a parody of itself and held no actual weight. That is this show in a nutshell. Just a vague shell of a better show that holds no weight and leaves no impression. And for that, we're gonna give Togainu no Chi a 4 out of 10. It's always nice when they decide to cram an entire season's worth of storylines into a measly 2-episode season. Angel's Feather had potential, but there was just so much shit being thrown at you from every direction that it felt like it was kind of happening at you instead of for you. Between the action scenes that just came out of complete nowhere, to the heavy emotional gut punches which were not given time to land, to the exposition dumps that fill in everything in between, this was just a shit show. My brain started mentally checking out multiple times throughout, and I had to manually drag my ass back into paying attention. All of the bones to make a decent show were here, but with what I'm assuming limited resources given only 2 episodes, they probably did do the best that they could do. Unfortunately, their best still resulted in this. Angel's Feather gets a 4.5 out of 10. Gravitation is a BL classic and a standard that helped shape the genre as a whole in the 90s. This is a bona fide fact and one that I will never take away from the show. It did a lot for yaoi as a whole, and I do think its place in history in the genre should be celebrated and respected. Now, if we remove the pedestal for a brief minute to actually examine how it is as an anime, does it live up to the hype? By my and today's standards, I'm gonna have to say no. Like, it's not a bad anime, it's just not a good one either. I enjoyed the music and some of the plot lines, but between the constant SA, the hardcore tsundere love interest whose bad behavior is obviously given a pass due to a dark backstory, and the general pacing of the anime, this one just didn't hit for me. I think we can and should celebrate this for the milestone in the genre that it is. But we can also respectfully take off the rose-colored glasses and see it for the problematic roller coaster that it is. Gravitation gets a 5 out of 10. Was it dramatic? Yes. Were there murders? No. Now, I should have known that an anime based off of a light novel video game premise was gonna be questionable at best. And yeah, this puppy was lackluster as fuck. Like, there are some cool premises for sure, but the overall execution was a complete clusterfuck. There were no stakes. Like, even in the final episode, in the final battle, it was resolved so easily that I burst out laughing. Cause like, we went through that whole ass journey just for it to be resolved that easily? When you have an anime trying to present such a serious setup with vast world building, you need to give it real world stakes. But Dramatical Murder had literally zero. So despite all of the better moments, I could never get fully attached or get myself to actually care about the outcome. For those of y'all who've played the game and watched the anime, was this adaptation any good? Cause it seems like it was trash. Dramatical Murder was the definition of mid. So let's give it a score that matches that energy. 5 out of 10. I really wanted to like Embracing Love. It's an old school anime, it's got sex worker representation, and it was supposed to have a lot of meaningful conversations about the entertainment industry and the toll that it takes on people. But in practice, it all evened out to just a solidly average anime. I had a personal beef with how it handled one of these central conflicts in the anime. So it's about two adult entertainment actors who transition to mainstream films. They both appear in a film, and when that film is turned into a TV show, they decide to recast the main role and the two switch places, which means now that the audience is going to be confused as fuck because the two main characters have now swapped places. If you're adapting a film to a TV series, why the fuck would you swap the actors? It just doesn't make sense from both a production and especially from a marketing standpoint. There's a handful of other conflicts. Some of them are big, some are small, and some are heavily cloaked in anti-sex work mentality, and all of them are messy as fuck. It just kind of all blurred together and turned what could have been a genuinely great anime that tackles majorly taboo and difficult topics into yet another mediocre drama. So for that, Embracing Love gets a 5 out of 10. So you know that horrible epidemic of people getting SA during public transit rush hours in Japan? Wouldn't it just be so cute if we use that as the connecting factor for our couple to fall in love? We can even throw some old-fashioned victim blaming on top of it. Isn't that just so fucking adorable? Like, props to his friend for choosing to chaperone him on the train to protect him from predators, but why the fuck are all the assaults treated as cutesy little whoopsies? So how is the actual anime past the SA? The romance is decent, and for the most part, they practice consent. And the molesters and stalkers are actually treated as villains and not romanticized, so that's bare minimum good. I really wish the main character wasn't constantly being SA'd, but at least they do treat it as the horrific violation that it is. I was not a fan of the main character getting yelled at from getting an erection from getting SA'd, because that is a very common physiological response. I'm kind of torn on this one because on one hand, I did think it did a decent job at exploring SA, but it also had some pretty major missteps. For the dark days of Yaoi though, this really was a beacon of consent, so I'm just gonna give Hate Class President a 5 out of 10. Now, I didn't hate Tightrope, but at this point in the video series, not hating something is a very solid win, and does mean that we are approaching peak cinema. There is also hints of SA which were explored in a really confusing way, with the main character wanting to kiss his bestie and his bestie not being really into it, but then also being into it. It felt like coercion, but there was also times that he was the one pursuing it, so it just wasn't enough information to get a solid handle on what the fuck was happening. There eventually was an attempted R on the love interest, but the main character got there just in time and beat the bricks off of the assailant, so yay for villainizing the abuser, I guess? I think Tightrope could have been better if it was like 2 episodes longer and had more time to explore the moments instead of just hitting them all in rapid fire and hoping that the audience caught all of the exposition dumps. Tightrope gets a 5 out of 10. Well, this whole thing was a train wreck and a half. Just pure trauma porn for 2 long-ass OVAs, complete with the most aggressively 90s yaoi proportions known to man. Literally no one is having a good time, and it's just one continual cycle of abuse. Izumi is dealing with being SA'd by his supposed love interest on the regular, and he's having his traumatic past where he witnessed his mother unalive his father, try to take him out, and then take herself out, splashed across the news since Nanjo is a celebrity. He is putting his own needs to the side because this selfish man-child keeps forcing himself on him. It's just all bad. When it comes to trauma, SA, and other heavy topics, I always judge them by how they're framed. And since Nanjo and his abuse is framed as being a bad thing, I'm not gonna take points off for including it. This anime is still just kind of a shitstorm though, and leaves a lot to be desired. It was entertaining as hell though, so I guess we'll give it some points for that. We are gonna give Zetsu I 1989 a 5.5 out of 10. Well, the title says it all. Like, this is just 2 bros just broing out, except one gets Ron Mud and starts gender bending. So naturally, his friend decides to f both versions of him, and they kind of all fall in love. Now, this is just hentai with a flashy story behind it. There's really not much depth to this one. I read the manga years ago and cautiously proceeded with the anime, and this is just, yeah, like, honestly, I'm kind of embarrassed to even be including it on this list, but I'm trying to give y'all a full and complete yaoi list, so this is what we've been reduced to. Please just put me out of my misery and yeah, don't make me watch any more of these. Seduced by My Best Friend gets a 5.5 out of 10. As a big fan of the manhwa semantic error, I was honestly kind of disappointed by the anime. Considering the small production and I'm assuming limited budget, I really wish that they'd gone a different route. Instead of a more conventional timeline, they decided to choose chapters at drastically different parts of the manhwa, and not even in order to tell the story. If I was an anime-only watcher, I would have no idea what was happening. Because in one episode, you have them being flirty at the library, then the next episode, they're meeting and flirting over drinks, then the next episode, they're starting to get sexy in the parking lot, and then the final episode just time skips into a full year of them being a couple. I would have just picked 4 episodes that were closer together in the timeline to tell a more succinct storyline rather than 4 screenshots into their overall relationship. The episodes themselves were legitimately cute, and the chemistry between the two was so well done. But as a representation of the series as a whole, I don't think I can recommend this one. Like, I still enjoyed it because I like the manhwa, but yeah, like, you're honestly better off reading the original manhwa or even watching the live action BL. Let me know if you guys would like me to do a video comparing BL manhwa to their respective BL live actions. As for semantic error, we're gonna give her a 6 out of 10. For a 10-minute short, this puppy packs a bullet, like, good God. I was not trying to feel all of that, and I got my shit absolutely rocked. Between the unique and gorgeous art style and the existential questioning of the meaning of life, I was not expecting this anime to go this goddamn hard. I also really enjoyed the way that the anime was framed, being more of a letter-like narration of the main character trying to come to terms with being a robot built with human emotions. Major trigger warning for SI though, because there is one particular scene that, woof. I would have loved to see an extended version of this that wasn't only 10 minutes. The length is honestly the only drawback about this puppy, and who knows, like, maybe when I revisit it in the future, the score will go up. But for now, we're going to give Robotica Robotics a 6 out of 10. I was honestly surprised by The Boy Can Fight Aliens. Given only a 20-minute runtime, this was able to tell a surprising amount of story. The art style was absolutely drop-dead gorgeous and made the entire experience a feat for the eyes. The storyline had a lot to say, but it did feel very lopsided in that there was a whole lot at the beginning, almost too much at the end, so the finale was insanely rushed, and then a lot of space in the middle interrupted by some interesting moments. I really wish that this could be remade as a 90-minute film so that it could showcase a prologue to help the audience understand the beginning of the alien conflict and how it concluded. This short film could only give us so much with its allotted time, and I would have more empathy for that if I didn't see anime with less runtime doing more with it. I still think this is a solid entry. I just really wish that it utilizes runtime with a little more care. And for that, we're gonna give This Boy Can Fight Aliens a 6 out of 10. So to wrap things up, we have officially made it through the worst and the mid, and honestly, I have never been happier. I am just so unbelievably grateful that I've made it through the slop and can finally turn towards the light and start to show y'all some anime that, dare I say it, is good? And that is exactly what we're gonna do next week. Like always, I had to cut this the down and censor the hell out of it, so if you'd like to watch the extended director's cut, it is now up on my Patreon, which you can scan for here or click in the description. Shout out to all of my Patreon producers, including Karen Miriam Goldberg, Jeff Friend, Horsey Brad, and a special shout out to Legion Zero. One of the reasons why I am so harsh on the anime from these first two videos is because I think that educating on the warning signs of abuse and grooming are so deeply important to keep talking about. Many of us are in fact grown and able to separate fact from fiction, but it's important to remember that so much of the BL community is comprised of underage fans. Because of that, I always want to do my part to provide safeguards, not from a point of censorship, but just awareness so that it doesn't become normalized. I know this shit got normalized for me, and thank God I never ended up being taken advantage of because of that. But so many, and I mean so many of my friends and acquaintances were taken advantage of. As an adult in the LGBTQ community, as well as the anime community, I want to continue being the adult that I wish that I had when I was younger. I always want this channel and these videos to be a space where people can be their truest and most authentic versions of themselves. Because you do matter. Your identity matters. Your experiences matter, and you are valid exactly the way that you are. Please Don't let the naysayers and bigots tell you otherwise. Here are some resources for anyone who needs them. They are also in the description for easy access. Whenever you guys need a pick-me-up, please know that this community here has your back. Thank y'all so much for sticking around, and I'll see all of y'all on the next one.
I don't wanna be violent, I don't wanna be silent, I don't wanna see my